The 2021 year finish line is on the horizon, and Puck Time hosts Carmine, Bianco, and Andrew McInnis want to get you there with a great show promo. For a limited time, buy a 1-month all-access package now for $349 and get the rest of the year absolutely free. That's over a $300 savings, and you'll get every sport released from either host. To redeem this offer, purchase a 1-month all-access at regular price and forward your receipt to support@WagerTalk.com. Requesting the Puck Time promo and your all sports all-access package will be extended through the end of 2021 for free. Visit WagerTalk.com to get this special limited time offer now.
Welcome back, guys, right here to WagerTalk TV. It is Monday, November 15th, a brand new week of NHL betting action. Carmen and I are alone today on the show. We're going to discuss the weekend a little bit, talk some promotions, and discuss the two games we do have going on tonight's card. We have the Islanders and the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Detroit Red Wings and the Columbus Blue Jackets going head-to-head. So just two games tonight, Carmen, but two games that should be relatively entertaining. I think two teams that definitely will go at each other and have, put forward some pretty good hockey. But I want to just start off the show just right off the gate here by mentioning Carm is on a 7-0 run. A great weekend for you, Carm. It was a great weekend of hockey. And I'll say this as well. You know, I've been saying it all season long that those small schedules, like yesterday, even 4 or 5 games, have been really entertaining as well. I mean, we all love the Saturdays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, but the small slates have been really fun too. Yesterday, overs go 4-1. Exciting games yesterday, afternoon games, evening games as well. But what were your thoughts, Carm, overall on the weekend of hockey, man?
I was ecstatic about it because even the games that I didn't have for my clients were coming in. Yesterday is a prime example. Teams like Anaheim, Boston, the Rangers, Washington. Washington was a small price. I couldn't understand that small price, but I only released a couple plays to clients. They both won, but the other ones were hitting, which is a good sign that maybe because it was a brutal start to the season. I'm not lying, or I'm not hiding my head in the sand. It was a rough start for me, and things are turning around in a good way. Even the ones that don't make my card are coming in. So that for me is a positive sign. Let's just try and keep it going. And even the show best bets are hitting. I think we hit 4 out of 5. And I want to make a point. We did I really enjoyed doing it. We're going to do it every Friday, where I'm going to do a 6 in 60 look at 6 games on the Saturday card. And just to explain it real quickly, those aren't 6 games that I'm going to be betting. They're 6 games that draw my eye right off the bat, that I like the matchups and possibly the number. And then I'll let you guys know why. And then by the time Saturday rolls around, maybe only 2 of those make my actual card. And that's what happened with the 6 in 60 last Friday. 2 of them made my card, and both of them were winners. The Leafs in regulation time, and then I think there was an over in there as well too. The Nashville, I think, under hit, so I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I think it's a fun segment, Carm, and you rattled off a bunch of picks and information, and obviously in a minute. So it's pretty incredible, and you know, a lot of people should be thankful for that because we do not have a weekend show. I wish we did. Maybe someday we will get there. But as we know, there's so many games on the weekend, and it's nice to get some content out, even if it's in just 60 seconds, and discuss some of those games. But I think it was a pretty good weekend of hockey, lots of competitive games. And I'll tell you, Teddy and Prez, they do their What Have You Learned a lot of days on their show. What I've learned, Carm, is that this is a very competitive league. I mean, right now, there are not that many teams that can't upset somebody any given night. And so I'm not saying favorites aren't winning, but I'll say be careful with who you're, backing on these huge prices, because right now this is a very, very competitive National Hockey League, and it's been a pleasure to watch. And definitely starting to catch on to some of these great teams. You mentioned the Anaheim Ducks. They're a team where they're not playing just okay anymore and getting some wins. They're probably to be taken kind of serious now against some certain teams, and there's plenty of teams we can discuss down the list, but it's been a great season so far as entertainment, and we'll try and find some winners for today, Carm. But any thoughts on that? I mean, man, it's been a competitive season so far.
Yeah, and this is why I think to a man, a lot of us have struggled early on. Like I would see the people in our live chat talking about it, talking about games, and then the next day talking about they couldn't understand how they lost those games. It's so competitive that it's on a game by game basis. You might think you're on the right side, and you just end up on the wrong end of it. You're seeing teams that it's kind of like I thought Winnipeg. I stepped in front of that Kings winning streak because I thought it was a bad spot for them in Winnipeg, and they ended up losing that game. But a lot of people were loving the Kings, and the Jets get it done. Even the prices of those games, the Jets playing at home, where they play extremely well and tough, playing a Kings team I think it was on a 7-game win streak, and the Jets were still minus 180, I think, or 170 in that game, the closing number. So it might not make sense to you why a team on a 7-game streak is plus 160, but it happens. This is the NHL. On any given night, anyone can win. This is the great thing about this league, more so than any other. In the NFL, we kind of expect what's happening. It's one game a week. NBA is similar, that on any given night, even those big favorites go down. So this is one of the reasons why, Andrew, not to harp on it, why I don't release big money line favorites, because in those cases, you lose a minus 200 and you've got to win 2 plays just to break even moving forward, right? So you can bury yourself really quickly, bankroll management wise, if you continue to put out big money line favorites as plays.
Yeah, and we often recommend regulation wagering, Carm, but we have seen quite a bit of overtime so far this year. So maybe some people can start dabbling in the -1 way to go about it. But obviously, long term, I still do like the regulation wager. But I've been seeing a ton of people. It's happened to me as well, where you have a team in regulation, they go on and win that game in overtime or a shootout. And of course, that is a losing wager. But a lot of overtimes. And I'll tell you, Carm, I have yet to release a draw. But if these trends keep on continuing, when I start seeing big games or teams that are trending towards low-scoring games that are tight, I might start betting some of these draws, because we're starting to see a lot of overtimes. I don't know if it's as many as years past, but it feels like it's a lot more.
Yeah, it's happening. I would probably lean to draws in games like, let's say, possibly like one tonight, which is the Tampa Isles one that we're going to discuss. Mainly because of the fact that when you see even a game total at 5.5, which is heavy on the juice on the under, obviously the books are expecting a low-scoring game. This is one of those games that could easily be 2-2, heading to overtime, ends 3-2 for one of the two sides. Both games tonight are super tough, and I think we're going to get to them now and discuss them.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's jump into the games. Let's start things off with the game you just mentioned there, the Islanders and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Current prices right now, we got Tampa -130 at home. The Islanders, they're +110 on the road. The total is 5.5, like you mentioned. -1.5 for the Bolts is +180. We've been talking about it on the show every single week. This Islanders road trip, Carm, it is almost over for them. Fatigue, sloppiness, undisciplined penalties. Usually things that I say about teams on the tail end of a road trip. This might be a different scenario, however, because it's just been a ridiculously long road trip. It's not just been a 4-game stretch. It's not just been a 5-game West Coast road trip for an Eastern Conference team. This has been a team playing double-digit road games to start off their year because they have a arena being built and it was not completed to start off the season. It is definitely taking a toll on them. They've barely been scoring. 4 goals their past 3 games, and then the one before that was against a struggling Montreal team. But what I've noticed about this Islanders team, Carm, is that if you look at the teams that they've beat so far in the season, it's all been teams that are struggling, including my Montreal Canadiens, including the Arizona Coyotes. When they play teams with a winning record, they have not had success. And I think Tampa Bay is, quote for quote, kind of getting their swagger back after a slow start. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, they are. I think it's that Stanley Cup. It's that Stanley Cup hangover, a double Stanley Cup hangover. So sometimes teams struggle early on to get their bearings. It's one of those things where I think you go through a long playoff series after series, and they had some long series in that. It's just one of those things where motivation wise, it's just tough the first couple of weeks or 3 weeks of the season to get going, because you just expect at some point you're going to turn it on. And they don't care if they win the President's Trophy. They've already done the President's Trophy. They're worried about cups. And Cooper with maintaining that lineup, making sure the players are getting minutes, not overworking them, and get ready for another long playoff run again to defend that cup. They're starting to score, which is great. They got that power play, which is absolutely deadly. We talk about the Isles. I want to switch course for a second. 13 games to obviously just on this road trip to start the season. And you look at their unders, and 7 of their 11 games thus far have gone under. They'll finish with 2 games tonight and tomorrow against Florida. I'm just going to be watching the game tonight. I'm not releasing any plays to my clients, so whatever I like, I'm going to mention on today's show. It's because I think both games tonight are super tough. I'm going to watch the Islanders game because I want to see mentally where they are in these last 2 games against Tampa and Florida. If they're going to leave it on the ice, or if they're already in their minds, they're already back home, waiting to get into UBS Arena, which they'll christen in their first game, I think, against the Calgary Flames. This is a tough one. I'm going to lean to the under here. I just think we'll see a tough, another tough checking, low scoring game. The unders are 4-2-1 thus far in Tampa home games. There was that first one where the Penguins, that would have been an under as well too, Andrew, if you remember the opening banner raising night in Tampa Bay. The game finishes 6-2. Mm-hmm. 5 of the goals were scored with the Tampa Bay net empty. Yes. 3 for Pittsburgh, 2 for Tampa Bay. If you had the under in that game, you were pulling out your hair. I don't have that problem with pulling out my hair, but if you had the under, that was a bad beat. If you had the over, just donate a little extra on Sunday when you go to church. But for me, I'm taking the under here, and then I'm going to watch this game and see where the Isles are tomorrow, and possibly if I see non-compete out of them, I'm going to fade them tomorrow as well.
Yeah, it's a great idea looking for the scheduling and seeing what kind of effort you get out of them. It is important to mention they haven't played a game in 4 days. Their last game was on the 11th against the Devils, but they got shut out there, Carm. They lost 4-0. And, besides guys like Barzal, Brock Nelson's been great this year for them. They got the goaltending a little healthier now for them, but like I said, they haven't really put forward a great effort against winning teams. One team I forgot to mention on that list that I mentioned was the Chicago Blackhawks. So for a team with a record that's not incredibly impressive at 5-4-2, plenty of those wins are coming against teams that could barely score, and we're struggling big time. So that's something you have to take into account. You want to look at teams, they can only play who's in front of them. However, the teams that they have played that have a winning record, they've seemed to really struggle against.
Yeah, listen, Sorokin has played well. Obviously, there was issues with their other goalie being on the injury list or what have you, and he's only played 1 game. But Sorokin's done fantastic. 3 shutouts thus far into the season, all on the road, of course, in those games. So they're playing well enough. And as far as fatigue shouldn't be a question tonight. It shouldn't be a question tomorrow. It could be a question tomorrow. Shouldn't be one tonight because but they had 3 days off, as you mentioned, between their last 2 games, and they've had 3 days off since their last game. Right. So and traveling down to Florida for these 2 games. So it's not as if these are back-to-backs or 1 day off type of thing. They've had 3 days off since their last game, and that one was on 3 days rest as well too. So I don't think fatigue enters into the thing. It's a mental question for me. I know these NHL players are mentally tough, but a 11-game road schedule to start the season, and you're traveling to the West Coast through Canada, it's a tough one to do. And when you're at the tail end of it, you just want to get home. It's kind of like being on a long vacation where the last couple of days you're just like, I'm traveling home. I just want to get home, and that could be it for the Islanders tonight. So we'll see if they compete or not.
And, you talk about the Stanley Cup hangover, that expression, Carmen, and it depends on what sport it is that I really buy into that. But especially, like you said, a double hangover, not just one Stanley Cup, but being the back-to-back defending champions. Vasilevsky, he doesn't have the best start to his season, but now he's posting a 2.31 goals against average, .921 save percentage. So when you've got a team in the Islanders that are the second worst team as far as goals for in the league, just right there above the Coyotes, it's hard to imagine they want to go up against a stellar defensive core and a Vezina winning trophy winner, in Vasilevsky to try and light the lamp for them. So I like Tampa Bay. I think it's a short price, long road trip. I do still think there will be some fatigue, but like Carmine mentioned, it's the mental fatigue more than anything, wanting to get home. Carmine likes the under in this game. Should be a good game either way, though, Carm. I'm looking forward to seeing the effort the Islanders put forward. And like Carm said, the Islanders are taking battle again tomorrow. So make sure you kind of use what you see today and make your bet accordingly. I want to ask you, Carm, before we jump into our next game. So you do a lot of this planning stuff, which is really great, especially in the NHL. I mean, every sport you should do it, but is this something where you will look to potentially bet the second the numbers come out or overnight and not wait till tomorrow because you expect these numbers to move? Because it sounds like it might be a real good opportunity to not wait and to bet this type of game tonight if you want to fade the Islanders tomorrow.
Yeah, well, the Islanders right now at one book that I found, or I should say the Florida team, the Panthers at one of the books where I found right now are minus 155. That does seem like a high number, but you're getting the Islanders again on the second half of a back-to-back against a rested Florida team who are playing, some lights-out hockey, and it's just where will the Islanders be tomorrow? As far as it's their final game of 13 games. Barry Trotz can rally the troops in the dressing room and say, guys, listen, it's our 13th and final game. We're heading home. Let's end it with a win. But you can say what you want, and it doesn't always transfer to your legs in that game when you're skating. It's a tough one. The 155, where do I think it's going to go? I think if Tampa smokes the Islanders tonight and the Islanders look like they're not competing, that number goes to about 170, 175 tomorrow. I think a lot of people take advantage of Florida in that spot. And even if the Islanders compete tonight, it's a 3-2 game in overtime with either team winning. That line isn't going to go much lower than 155. You might hit 145, maybe 140. At 140, I'd jump all over it. But I think 155 is the value right now in that number. So I'm taking it now.
Great stuff. Yeah, and like you said, that back-to-back is definitely included with that price. The odds makers know what's going on there. They know how long that road trip has been. Carm, promotional stuff. What do you have going on for tonight? What's going on for you this weekend or this week? It is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. Every single play is $9. And we also have a promo going right now. Pick a sport. Pick a sport you like. Pick a sport that you want from your capper. Get $99. That's all it is, $99 for a month. Whether it's soccer, hockey, NBA. It's a great promo, Carm. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a great deal. We ran one very similar to that a few weeks back in the NHL. But what do you have up for this week for $9 Monday?
Yeah, right now it is just a couple World Cup qualifying. It's the final match day in many of the groups in Europe, and two games both go at 2:45 today. You can get those for $9. A lot of berths into next year's World Cup in Qatar, or Qatar as some people call it, will be determined today. So a couple of big games. I really like these games, so I'm betting them. The NHL ones, there's going to be no card tonight. I'll talk about the games on the show and where I would lean, but if they're not strong enough to bet myself, I'm not going to give them to my clients. So my thoughts on these games, I told you the first one's the Tampa Bay one. I'm just going to lean to the under here and watch the game and maybe do some in-game betting, Andrew. You've done extremely well with the in-game. I'll probably do the same. And I'll have the Columbus-Detroit game on as well, too. So no hockey, just the two soccer plays. And then my NHL card for tomorrow will probably be up later this evening. So I'll put it up for like $9 for the last 3 hours of Monday. So you can grab it for $9 instead of $29 tomorrow.
Yeah, just so everybody knows out there watching the show, if we do have plays that aren't on today, on Monday, it does not mean the play is not listed for $9. There are NFL plays listed for $9 right now. Carm's soccer plays listed for $9. Does not have to be a play on $9 Monday. We have to mention, Carm, the Prez. He has a 5% play in the NHL for tonight. He is on a 18-8, 5% NHL run. Make sure you head over to Prez's page, wt.buzz/PZ or PZ, and check out the Prez and his 5% NHL plays. He's done very well long-term with those. You got a big write-up alongside with that, and check him out over at WagerTalk.com. For me, Carm, low volume so far, college hoops, but 3-1 to start in action tonight in the NBA, and just the one play in the NHL. But looking forward to a good night. Always a fun time on $9 Mondays. And just to reiterate what Carm said, I'll have the same thing going. Tomorrow's a big day in the NHL, so I'll have a package up tonight for tomorrow's plays that'll be listed for just $9. But Carm, enough promo stuff. Let's jump into the next game here. Detroit and Columbus. I'd say two teams that maybe aren't as talked about, maybe aren't as, we're not seeing in the playoffs as much. But Detroit and Columbus, it's still a matchup that I'm interested to see, because we have a Detroit team right now that I won't say is playing spoiler, but they're a team that has a brilliant GM, as we all know, with Stevie Y, but they have a prospect pool that is massive. And a lot of these prospects are performing at a high level, that have been called up, that are playing with the team this year. A lot of the younger guys are playing with them. And they have actually a pretty good defensive core. And you got a Columbus team that, I was saying this last week on the show, I think they're going to be a different team without Patrik Laine. They're minus 130. Detroit's plus 110. I always say in a lot of sports, especially hockey, don't overreact to one injury. Don't overreact to one or two guys being out. But I'll tell you, I think with this Columbus team, I will react to Patrik Laine not being in the lineup. He's showed a lot of heart this year. He's been great on the power play. I think it does hurt them a little bit. They also have a few other injuries as well to the forward position. They've dropped back-to-back games to the Rangers and the Capitals here, and they have a Detroit team fresh off a win against the Canadiens. So what are your thoughts here, Kyle? I think it should be an interesting game, a tight game, and I think it'll be entertaining through the full 60 minutes.
Yeah, this is it's another one. It's a tight one where I think you can make cases for both teams. I liked Detroit finishing off their their home 4-game homestand against the Montreal Canadiens. They won that game 3-2 in OT, winning 3 of 4. The game that they lost was a good one by them. They lost 2-0 to the Washington Capitals in their second to last game, and that was the debut and shutout for Foucault for Washington. But they played Washington tough in that game. They could have easily been right now heading into this game on a 5-game win streak. And by the same token, I thought with Laine out of the lineup as well too, I thought it was a bad spot for Columbus at home after having lost to Washington to then play a Rangers team who were a little hungry, and the Rangers got the job done there. I think they scored 3 goals in like a minute and 20 seconds to ice that game away fairly quickly in the second period. This is a tough one because it's not the mentality part of it. It's the momentum part of it with Detroit. You said it. Yzerman's building a very good team in Detroit. Give this team another year or two. Let these guys get some game time in, ice time in. This Detroit team is going to be a playoff team 2 years down the road, and a good playoff team. So it's good to see hockey returning to Hockey Town in Detroit. At the end of the day, Andrew, Columbus is a small price here. Even with Laine out of the lineup, you have to believe that they play extremely well at home. They're a good team, a good checking team. It's where Detroit is here. If you look at that game that they played in Detroit earlier this season, 4-1. All 5 goals were scored in the last 14 minutes of that game, I believe it was. 2 of them empty nets. So it was a tight game throughout. I expect the exact same thing tonight. You could lean under here if you want, because it could be another low-scoring game, or maybe I'm on the other end of it with you, Andrew, and I'm like on Columbus at a short price, but it's not going to make my betting ticket tonight. I'm going to tell you guys, if you held a gun to my head, I would probably say Columbus minus the 130, but I'm going to watch and look for some in-game betting opportunities instead.
Oh no, I wasn't saying, Carm, that I like Detroit. I'm just saying that I don't think Columbus is the same team as they were maybe a few weeks ago. That's all. I think that they might have been overachieving a little bit.
Yeah, no, listen, I agree with you. it's at the end of the day, Andrew, when we look at it, what is going on now and what we expect to happen, we don't expect Columbus to be a playoff team this year. We expect them to likely fill those spots in 9, 10, 11, 12, where they're battling into the last 10 games of the season, thinking they have a shot, but they're 7 points out and really don't. That's where I see them. That's where I see a team like Philadelphia. If mid-major Matt's watching this, he's probably cursing my name right now. I'm pretty set on who I think are going to be the 9 or 10 teams that are going to battle for the 8 spots in the East. And Columbus is not one of them.
No, I don't think so. But they have been an interesting team, and they have cashed some plus money tickets. I'm just taking a look at some of the data right now for the first period totals, because I do kind of think this game might have a tight start to it. And we've talked a little bit on the show already. You mentioned about a bad beat early in the season with Pittsburgh and Tampa, about those third period explosions. We've seen that a couple times this year. We saw it a couple times actually on the weekend, games going over the posted total just after a huge third period. So taking a look at these two teams, they do actually rank pretty high as far as the first period unders go. So that's might be where I'm looking here. Actually, a first period under 1.5 here. I believe the number is like minus 110 or 115. Yeah, 115 towards the under in the first period. And Carm, sometimes people say the first period is the hardest period to score in hockey. Obviously, that's why we get the best odds, for the under and over. But it's not juiced towards anywhere. Second period over is always juiced pretty high. But I look at both these teams seeing this game as a winnable game, a winnable contest. They go in and they see the matchup, and I think some people out there probably think that doesn't make any sense. That isn't a real thing. I can tell you 100% that is a real fact. These guys get up for certain games more than others. Maybe they get up for a game against a top seed as well. But when you're playing a team that might be in and around the same spot as you, when things are all said and done in this season, you get up for it like it's a big game. It's the same thing as if it's the Tampa Bay Lightning playing the Florida Panthers. When you're playing a team that's low class, just like yourself, it is a winnable contest. So it should be a good game, but also these two teams want to play well defensively. Columbus is off 2 games where they did not take care of the puck in their own end. And they've actually had some sloppy goaltending lately, which is kind of surprising for a team that I thought had not just 1, but 2 great goaltenders. So we'll see what happens tonight, but I look towards the under in this game. I know, Carm, you like the under in game 1. Are you with me here in this first period under?
Yeah, I think I would look at it. I'm not going to give you an argument against it because I can't find an argument against it. Listen, Detroit's playing well. I said they're a couple of years away from being a team that contends for a playoff spot or is in the playoffs. Maybe they don't know that right now because they're playing some lights out hockey right now as well too. They're only 5 points out of first place. They have 18 points. I think Florida's at the top with 23. They're playing some very good hockey, and they're beating some good teams. It's not a case of they've had a light schedule. They're beating Washington. They beat Edmonton. They beat Vegas. These are teams that we expect to be in the playoffs. So they're beating playoff caliber teams. It's just going to Columbus. You start a road trip. You want to start it off on a positive note. This is the only thing that's keeping me off of this game is while I lean slightly to Columbus, it's one of those things where Detroit has some momentum. If they carry it in tonight, they could win this game. I'm just not getting a good enough price on Detroit to want to take them. Give me plus 130, give me plus 140, and I'll take Detroit tonight. But that's not the case here. This is a near coin flip if you're looking at the odds of minus 130, minus 125 type of thing, and plus 110.
And I will say, captain of the Red Wings, Dylan Larkin, he is having himself a great past couple of weeks here, producing lots of shots, getting on the board. He's plus 220 tonight to score a goal for the Red Wings, Carm. I might look at that. I might have a small little sprinkle tonight on Dylan Larkin at plus 220 to find the back of the net. He's got that scoring touch right now. He's scoring the kind of the greasy goals, also scoring the really nice goals. And leading by example, not always do you see the captains being the highest scorers and the most skilled. They just lead by example. Right now, he's doing both. He's scoring and playing great defensively as well. So Dylan Larkin, plus 220 to score a goal is something I've looked at. And you talk about getting behind a team on a streak, finding out when that streak might start. You don't want to get on a streak too late. It's incredible, Carm. You look back to 3 weeks ago when some guys hadn't scored their first goal yet in the season. It happened more often than you might think that the game after they scored their first goal, they scored again. Happened to Marner, happened to Suzuki, happened to so many players across the league because you get that confidence. Even though you're an NHL player, even though you're making millions a year, even though you're going to play 82 games no matter what, you aren't going to get worried about getting scratched. When you see that puck go in, you get that monkey and you can throw it to the ground off your back and you get that confidence going. Right now, I think Dylan Larkin has that confidence. I don't think he needed confidence, but I think that he's got that right now for him and his team. So plus 220 for me is a pretty good price for this guy to score. And what's great about that is that with teams like Detroit, you'll never get prices that are that bad. Like McDavid is currently a minus 110 every game to score a goal. You're never going to get even a plus 110 with Dylan Larkin to score. So I think it's a great price there.
Yeah, that is a huge price. I'll actually jump on that and play it, regardless of the end result. Plus 220. I love those. I love that price. I'll take it. And yeah, it's always going to be low on McDavid and Draisaitl. Like they literally have a goal each before the national anthem is over in their games. It's absolutely unbelievable the clip these guys are scoring at.
I think I saw something Carmen said. Draisaitl and McDavid combined together, just the two of them have more points than the entire Islanders team and the entire Coyotes team has all together. So, yeah, those two guys are carrying the load, and it's amazing what they're doing.
Yeah, speaking of the Coyotes, and then we'll do our show best bets for everyone and call it a day or whatever. But, I keep talking about this Arizona team and, the free space on a bingo card, and their only win is against the Seattle Kraken. At some point, you expect the tide to turn, but how can you not continue to just play against them each and every game on the regulation line if you get a good price? It's just, they're athletes. They're going to win at some point, but I'm not the one who's going to speculate on when they're going to win. I'm just going to keep fading them. I said at the beginning of the season that they would be one of the worst, along with the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres have held well, but are starting to drop some games. Yeah, they did beat the Edmonton Oilers, and they took the Leafs right down to the last 11 seconds of the game before they lost that one on a Morgan Rielly game winner. But the Sabres are going to start dropping games. Arizona's going to drop games. You know what I mean? Don't try and reinvent the wheel, guys. Look for the bad teams sometimes and just find the good prices to go against them. They're going to be at the bottom of the league for a reason at the end of the season. You might as well make some money on their way down.
A streak can only end once, but it can continue for a very, very long time. Carm, I'll throw it over to you. Give us your power play here and remind the folks at home what they can grab from you on $9 Monday.
Yeah, 2 games, 2:45 today. So we got about 3 hours before game time. 2 World Cup qualifying plays. Those go, like I said, at 2:45 Eastern time. You can get those for $9 over at WagerTalk.com. Later on in the day, just check my page. I will have a couple different packages up for the rest of the week. I'll have an NHL card for tomorrow, and I have a 5% NFL play that I just need to check on a couple injuries, and then that'll be up as well too. You can get that for $9 at midnight. They return to regular pricing of $29 and $35. So you can get those. My show best bet's going to go be the first game that we discussed, this Tampa Bay New York Islanders game. I'm going to lean to the under here in this game. I just think this is one of those games that could have been the first 5 of the year, and it could actually get there because the juice is now, I think, at 140. I just checked a few seconds ago, Andrew, while you were talking. I'm going to take the under in this game. 7 of the 11 games for the Islanders have gone under the total on this 11-game road trip. I think they're pretty much set and ready to head back home to their new arena, UBS Arena. And 4-2-1 are the unders in the Tampa Bay home games thus far. So I'm just going to go where the numbers lead me and take the under here. And maybe it's one of those 4-1 Tampa games that makes everyone happy.
Well, hopefully it does make both of those happy because my best bet is on the same game as you. It's not too much of a coincidence, though, Carm, because there's only 2 games. But I'm on the Tampa Bay Lightning on the money line, minus 130. That price continues to move up. And just like Carm said, if you see a poor effort out of the Islanders tonight, maybe look to fade them tomorrow again against the Florida Panthers. This Islanders team has not beat a team with a winning record. In the last 6 times they've played a team with a record above 500, they have not defeated them. They have not done well. They've only seemed to do well against these poor teams and teams that are not scoring at all. And right now, a team that I always thought had a lot of depth is not seeming to have that much depth here this season so far. It's been pretty much 1 or 2 guys carrying the bulk of the load for the New York Islanders right now. This Tampa Bay Lightning team, I hate using this expression, but they do have their swagger back, a great goaltender, a great defensive core, and the Islanders second worst in the league in goals for. This is a great spot here. Great price, I thought, for the Tampa Bay Lightning to kick off their week with a win, fresh off a big win against their state rivals, the Florida Panthers. For me, guys, college basketball, we got NBA and 1 NHL play up. I'll try and find an early play for the NFL for just $9, but every play at WagerTalk, only $9. Power plays on the screen. We got Tampa Bay for me, Islanders Tampa, under 5.5 for Carmine. Packed slate tomorrow on the show. Buster Sports joins us. On behalf of Carmine, I'm Andrew, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
The WagerTalk You Pick special is live, giving you the option to pick the league of your choice and get 30 days of picks for only $99. 30 days of the NFL for $99, done. Just want NBA and NHL for the next month? You can do that for only $99 each. That's right, $99 gets you every release from the league of your choice from your favorite handicapper, including 5% best bets for 30 days. No coupon code is required, and 30-day sports passes will go back to regular price Sunday at midnight. So lock in as many sports and handicappers for only $99 before time runs out.